Oh my god. Is that working now? Or is it on the wrong place or what? I don't know why it won't work and there it is. Is this now on the wrong thing? Right, hang on, let me. I'm still on this page. Oh my days. Oh. Is that it? Is it working? Is it in the right place now? Is it? My god. Leave me alone. And now he's built up the hype even more. I was just kind of like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Right. Right, who's still tapping on here? My days. It's on the page, just not this bit. Sorry. It's not me who doesn't know how to do it anyway, it's just my computer. And now I'm nervous now. Now I'm worried because I just spent 20 minutes doing that. Good evening, boys and girls. I'm gonna be. Oh, I'm all a fuffle now. I've got a story that a 6-year-old called Molly wrote, so I'm gonna try and make a poodle dog out of a balloon to go with it. This is the poodle dog who's called Olivia, who this story is about. And the story is this. This is by Molly, age 6. There was a dog called Olivia. She was a normal dog and she was lovely. One day she was playing at the dog park with her friends Ruby and Jimmy, and they were playing catch. Ruby threw the ball really high in the air and it went over Jimmy's head and it was going to land in the pond. Oh no, said Ruby. Don't worry, I'll get it, said Olivia, and she jumped as high in the air as she could. The ball was still going over her head towards the pond when, all of a sudden, magic wings appeared on Olivia's body. She started flying beautifully through the air and caught the ball. Wow, said Jimmy. I didn't know you could fly. Neither did I, said Olivia. And that is the story of how Olivia found out she could fly. I hope you really enjoyed that story. And I got one more story to read before I go. Sorry I was late, it was my computer's fault. I don't want to play any music. I'm lazy. This story, you have to use your imagination because I wrote this story about hating working in a supermarket, but I wrote it before all of this stuff happened. So it was when supermarkets were how they were before the corona. This story can be called This Is My Life. It goes on a bit. It takes a while to get in there. It takes a while to get going. There is a church in Prague made entirely of bones. In Japan, there's a tiny village full of freaky life-size dolls. The dolls outnumber the humans by 10 to 1. On Snake Island in Brazil, the vicious golden lancehead vipers learnt to climb the trees and catch birds straight out of the sky. All over the world there are places you'd never want to visit. Horrible places, dark places, places where the sun doesn't come out for months on end. There's Baltimore where someone gets murdered every few seconds. And there's countries where you'll disappear for criticising the government on your Facebook wall. And then there's Hull and there's Wigan. You probably wouldn't want to be in a maximum security prison unless you're Charles Bronson, and you definitely wouldn't want to be in a proxy war zone occupied by two countries pretending they aren't at war with each other. But you've probably never considered your average supermarket to be one of these places. That's because you might not see it. The inner workings, the pulse of the place. You've got more important things on your mind when you pop into one. You're just hoping that they haven't sold out of disposable barbecues, or that this week's booze offers aren't just Carlin or Carlsberg. But when you work at a supermarket, though, it's different. When you're there every day, week in, week out, and most bank holidays, you can't help but notice things. You can't help but get annoyed at people. You can't help but group people and marginalize people and get angry at people. And just so you don't think I'm being unreasonable, here's a quick rundown of some of the main types of shoppers I know I'm going to see in my average working day. Number one, the sudden stopper. You know him. You've seen him. He's travelling up the aisle at somewhere between a trudge and a crawl, staying central enough to prevent overtaking manoeuvres, and scanning every item he passes at snail pace, like a safety car driver waving at every face in the crowd, thinking they're all there just for him. What's this? He's heading past the pasta. Is he moving for the muffins? The trail behind anticipate it, ready for the overtake. They begin to accelerate, then bam! The sudden stopper stops dead. He was going for the pasta all along, and he leaves the stream of people in his wake in disarray, swerving and braking and stuttering all over the aisle, their disrupted flow now damned completely. Disgusting human beings, some of the worst. The sudden stopper, or the SS for short. And then there's number two, the skippers. I see you, skipper. You already know what you came in to buy. You don't need any fruit. You aren't even tempted by the smells wafting from the deli counter at the far end. You're filled with confidence and you're going to skip aisle one altogether. I see you. You don't need scented candles or ladles or a new set of weighing scales or an unbranded television soundbar, and you're heading straight for the do-it-yourself fajita kit you absolutely positively know you need. Well done, skipper, well done. For the sake of adding a few precious seconds to your day and following the natural flow of the track, you're going to purposefully walk into oncoming traffic. Plenty of awkward moments where the person you're heading for tries to dodge right as you dodge left, back in the way again, a little laugh and an eye roll to make light of the situation you caused and you alone. I see you, mate. I bet you're one of those select group of people who don't understand you walk on the right of staircases, whether travelling up or down. And not once, ever, have I ever seen any of these scum notice the error of their ways and make a quick pivot. They'll just carry on causing carnage and destruction and evil looks at every bottleneck, every junction, and every freestanding shelf full of discount chocolates left over from Christmas. And then there's number three, that I haven't seen you for ages, people. You can usually find these species by the milks, bread or frozen pizzas. In other words, the busiest spots in the supermarket, and there will be two of them. The first leaning on her trolley as two bored kids hang from the sides, scuffing their feet back and forth, causing the squeaking metal cart to swing to and fro in small incremental angles. Small angles, but still big enough to pose a Super Mario-style moving block hazard threat to those brave enough to attempt to skirt around the thing. Mum, Mum, can we go now? Mum? And the trolley's moving. Squeak, Squeak! Squeak! And the other lady's leaning on the handle of one of the store's new improved pull-along baskets, and she hasn't done much of the speaking yet, mainly nodding, but it's early doors. There's a few dozen topics of conversation to be had yet. Mundane conversation, weather, Carol next door, what the PTA said. Well, of course he was going to see other women. It was part of his job. An irate customer attempts to lean through the minute gap left by the women, balanced on one leg to grab 2 pints of semi-skim milk. He nearly wipes out everything as his balance wanes and he stumbles. Our heroes barely even stop their incessant chatter to mumble a sorry. It's almost as if social media hadn't happened at all, and they hadn't been liking each other's cat pictures at home an hour earlier. And then there's number 4, Doris. Spoiler, her name probably isn't Doris. I've never asked her. I don't think anybody has. They wouldn't be able to get a word in edgeways anyway. She's the one who wants to see the manager every 2 seconds. She's the one who can't believe the store has run out of own brand custard. The one who can't buy ambrosia like the rest of the world because it plays havoc with their irritated bowels. Here's some insight for you, Doris. You are an irritated bowel. And then, of course, she needs help with her packing. And of course she wants someone to check at the back to see if they've got any more of the magic umbrellas she's seen on TV at 3 a.m. on the show she likes after the one where you ring up with the answer to the puzzles. An umbrella. It's July. It's a heat wave. It hasn't rained for longer than Bryan Adams spent at the top of the charts with the worst song ever written. And there's no point arguing with me in the comments about that, because on the middle of the road music matters, the shop radio plays it every 15 minutes, and I've heard it more times than Robin Hood. And last but not least, number 5 is the hoarder. There's row upon row of potatoes. There's new ones. There's big ones. There's the ones they market as being really good to make chips with. There's the premium ones, which are obviously exactly the same as the ones next to them, but the packaging is dark purple with stars on it. But the hoarder doesn't care about the type or the size, or if you could kill someone with an overarm throw because of the size and the weight of your average household brick. The hoarder wants to find the ones they can leave in the back of a dark cupboard for the longest. They come in after work on a Friday and they make everybody else wait in an impatient line as they rip the boxes apart, looking for the magical, mythical package with a best before date exceeding the others by 24 hours. They are potatoes. They spend months in the dirt. They will last. If they grow little arms, legs, and mohawks, you chop them off and use them anyway. And so that concludes my rundown of the shoppers, and I hate them all equally. I detest them and I despise them. But the thing is, it's the happy people that get to me the most. The ones who walk round smiling, positively bouncing, aisle to aisle, airily filling their baskets, giving way to all the scum I've already listed with a polite nod and a smile, content with whatever life has regurgitated out for them. What exactly is it they're so happy about? The country's in ruins, the world is burning, and they live in this little town in their little bubbles with their nuclear families and their water and their electric bills and the council tax and potholes and roadworks and traffic lights, and yet somehow they still breeze through it all and burst out at the other side, smelling of the roses Doris didn't want because they'd left the thorns on. And I can hear what you're saying from here. Why don't you just get another job if you hate it so much? Because this is the real world. This isn't a sleepy Australian cove by a beach where nobody's clever but still have respectable jobs on decent pay and do well enough at life to live comfortably and happily ever after. There's nothing else I can do. I have a very specific set of skills, and they don't involve mass murder with a pair of handguns, unfortunately. This is what my talents amount to, working at places like this. Born to do it, raised for it, and programmed into it. We are the proles. We're the working class drones here to do nothing more than serve the dribbling mass of idiots walking around not knowing they're already dead. The working drones. And I'm surrounded by them. There's 4 of us at the checkout area where I'm based. The other 3 don't speak and they don't think. They just sit there and they do what they're told. Beep, beep, beep. Hi ho. I can't talk about this stuff to any of them. And then there's Jerry. Fucking Jerry. Invisible, but the second something goes wrong, there he is. The only human being I've ever met who manages to start words with capital letters to make sure you know he's more important than you. I'm Jerry, and I'm the store manager. What seems to be the problem? You, Jerry, you're the fucking problem. Overweight, pasty-faced, balding head Jerry Glasses, of course, little round ones. Light blue shirt bursting out of his perfectly ironed dark grey trousers. Dark grey, horrible fabric trousers like the ones you wore in school, but made for 40-year-old, 40-inch waist suspected paedophiles. Jerry, who thinks his being store manager is down to raw talent and adaptability in the face of adversity, when in fact it's down to his ability to say yes to the powers that be, for his willingness to discipline employees he used to be friends with for minor infractions nobody even knew were infractions, employees who were his only friends, and used to invite him out for Christmas drinks to make him feel like part of the gang, even though the extent of his social skill set was to keep bringing up the funny incidents from work, like when George got sacked for having cancer. I'm sorry, but I'm the manager. For general inquiries like that, you'll have to go over to customer services and speak to a member of staff there. Yes, Jerry, we'll go and speak to one of the peasants, yeah? And I watch him bustle about, Bluetooth earpiece on, pretending to talk to someone we all know does not exist. Unless, of course, he's talking to God. And that would make perfect sense, because God's the only one he'd have up there on that pedestal with him. And he straightens the boxes of tea bags out here, exasperatedly moves a discarded basket there, and I compose songs about him as I watch him prowl around. Anything to break up the constant inner monologue, which always feels like 1,000 voices all shouting over each other at the same time, occasionally pierced by Bryan Adams coming back after his half-time oranges. Jerry, Jerry Jobsworth, every hour he gets an extra pound. Jerry, Jerry Jobsworth, he's buried someone's children in the... Hold on. Who's entering my area? It's Linda. Lovely Linda. Lovely, lovely Linda. Always smiling, always bubbly, unbreakable Linda. You need your Friday night shift covering so you can go watch a band at the Golden Lion? You ask Linda. If you fancy an extra fag break but you've got meat to slice, chuck Linda the knife and she'll sort it out. Puff away, brother. She proudly wears the apron they give to all the women the day they start. The difference being that everyone else immediately throws theirs into the clothes bin in the car park. And I imagine that somewhere a small nation of impoverished children are starving to death while wearing matching light blue happy to help you aprons as our store chain declares record profits for another quarter. But this is her life, this place. She loves it here. Not in the same way as Jerry, because although he does get off on the sadistic bullying he's got the green light to carry out, and he loves the small amount of power he desperately clings on to, and he adores the borderline S&M feeling of superiority he lords over the rest of us, he still actually gets stressed out by the job. But not Linda. Not lovely, lovely Linda. Smashed curry sauce jars in aisle 4. Nothing Linda can't sort out in 5 minutes with a mop, a bucket, and a fistful of plasters. The fish freezer is defrosting. A screwdriver and a smile later, and it's sorted. Spilled milk? Come on now. There's no tears here. Which obviously makes me hate her even more than the shoppers, and even more than Jerry. I don't even make songs up about her. I spend a significant portion of the shift hoping she'll slip in the spilt milk, or get electrocuted by the dodgy wiring in the fish freezer, and then as she hits the floor, all the fish fall off the shelves and out of their packaging, and they fall on her and defrost, and they come back to life, and then they wriggle around on her, and they flip and they flop, and they do them little skitty jumps they do in the air, and she regains consciousness, and I expect she's probably scared of fish, or at least she will be by ones that rise from the dead, and then most people would be, and so she'll scream and she'll cry, and then Jerry will be trying to get him off her, and he's saying, "Stay still, Linda. Some of these are still sellable," and she'll finally stop smiling. And I know I sound evil, but I'm not. I don't think so anyway. I don't want her to die or anything. Nothing as drastic as that. Just after the scaly fish have been subdued, I want the scales to fall from her eyes so she'll finally see all of this, what I see. This dead end. This dead end. The dead ends everywhere. The dead eyes everywhere. Not the fish eyes, all the eyes. The fact that we work in this place day in, day out, consuming every part of us that once harboured hope and creativity and feeling and energy. I know it makes me a bad person, or it probably does, when it's part jealousy and part sheer amazement that all the workers and all the shoppers have this ability to just be normal and think everything is okay. And not act normal, but be normal. And I feel like I'm cracking up. A machine, nothing more and nothing less. But I can't leave because this is my life. And so I've begun finding little ways, aside from daydreaming about the one with the fish and lightning, of making everything a little bit more bearable. If you can't fight them head on, subterfuge and guerrilla warfare is the way to go. So I start small. When the shoppers scan their bananas on me, I just refuse to beep and I let them go through. Just the bananas. The first bloke I do it to looks like he's in a proper rush, so he tries again and again, and he looks around angrily for assistance. Excuse me, my bananas? Here she comes, lovely Linda, and it's her job to manually override my system and sort out any discrepancies. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the code you type in to access my system. Jerry's magic at work right there. There you go, sir. Very sorry about that. Have a lovely day and thanks for shopping with us. And off the customer goes, huffing and pushing past lovely Linda in his haste to escape the place. The lucky bastard. And then next up is a kindly looking old woman. Not a Doris, probably an Ethel or a Ruby. I don't quite know how or why, but you can tell whether old people will be kind or unbearable by their network of wrinkles. But this one's got the good wrinkles, and luckily for her, she hasn't got any bananas, so she's off in a flash. Well, other than the 10 minutes it took her to count out the exact coins to pay for her shopping, but other than that, a flash. And third up is a lad who looks about 12. He's looking nervously at the back of Linda, who's busy helping Ethel pick up the coins she's just dropped on her way to the exit. The lad scanned a 4-pack of Strongbow. Now, no matter who scans booze and sharp knives and deodorant and potato peelers on me for some reason, I have to stick on my red light like Roxanne. A bit like Roxanne. Someone's got to come over to me to let me know they're old enough. I think, nah, fuck it. Let him get pissed. He probably deserves that at least. This town is shit. Is shit enough sober. It'll be good for him. Spending the night getting his stomach pumped as his parents cry at his bedside, wondering how they've got it all so wrong, and the nurses eye them disapprovingly because he's wasting a perfectly good bed. Character building. No red light, the kid pays. Can't believe his luck. I'd crack a smile if I had a mouth. Oh, here we go. It's Doris. And she's got bananas. No beep. Red light on. Assistance required. Here comes Linda, lovely Linda, face full of smiles, walking slap bang into a torrent of abuse off Doris. Evil wrinkles Doris in a coat to her knees. What's wrong with this bloody thing? I've scanned them. Why won't it work? I'm so sorry, ma'am. It's the bananas. They seem to be an issue with the barcode on the bananas today. I haven't got time for this. Let me speak to the... A flash. A portal. I'm the store manager. What seems to be the problem? And Jerry arrives like a genie from a bottle. I'd probably be impressed if I wasn't suddenly wondering how he always had the same size sweat patches under his arms, in summer and in winter. And 10 minutes of heated discussion between Jerry and Doris later, as Linda watches on smiling with the occasional sympathetic cooing sound. 3 coos for Doris, 3 coos for Jerry. She's a neutral. Then Doris storms out, bananas discarded on my weighing scales. We need to do something about this, Linda. If it continues, productivity will be through the floor. Jerry loves throwing the P word around. Most people's answer for everything is alcohol. His is the P word. But I'm enjoying myself. I start humming a new little tune to myself. Productivity, the scourge of all humanity. The next thing, I've got a new sticker slapped on me. Please do not scan bananas. Use alternative self-service machine or go to man checkout. 3 weeks I have that on. And I know it probably sounds stupid, but I wear it like a badge of honour. Still, a couple of people ignore it, thinking they know better. I even let one of them work, because in my head, that's a nice little fuck you to the system. Not a big one, just a lowercase one. And then Jerry gingerly tests out a bunch of bananas after closing time. Oh, is there after closing time? Fucking job's worth. And I let them go through properly, lull them into a false sense of security, and I play the long game. Next thing I experiment with is blatantly refusing to let 99% of all the items through. Nothing will scan, except for the bananas, obviously. The descent into chaos is fast and explosive. There's queues forming, people pushing through to jump the queue and use one of the other 3 checkouts in their rush to leave. How quickly the thin veil of social order tears apart. How delicately balanced this world is, held together by millions of entwined systems, pulling tighter and tighter and fraying at the edges. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sorry, sir. 1, 2, 3, 4. Please, 1 second, I'll be with you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Excuse me, there's a queue forming here, you know. Beep, beep. Red light city. Chris Rea pops in my head and I start humming. Top to toe in tail lights. Red lights all around. 1, 2, 3, 4. Beep, 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 beep. 1, 2, what? Beep, beep, beep. Oh, error. An error by Linda there. A rear error. This sparks off an idea in my electrical currents. I stopped letting Linda manually add the items I've decreed as unscannable. More, ma'am. Let me speak to your manager. I'm so sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry. Bam. An out of order notice. I'm even more proud of this one than the banana one. Another victory. My David and Goliath moment. Well, what am I on about? My David and Goliath moment. I know it seems petty, but for a fleeting moment I feel genuinely alive and as close to happy as I'll probably ever get. Doesn't last long though. I still have to sit there and endure the shoppers and the capital letter monologues and Linda smiling and Linda and the shoppers and the shoppers. And now instead of being a functional and being used by people and having to use a tiny bit of processing power and having the opportunity to slightly mar busy people's days, I'm reduced to being a passive viewer. It's like the shittest reality TV show ever. I'm just watching a supermarket. So it's a huge relief when the ginger prick shows up 2 days later. I don't know his real name because unlike every other person employed by this company, he doesn't need to wear a name badge. So I just call him what I heard Jerry call him once, the ginger prick. He's a subcontractor electrician, they call it when Linda can't fix it with a screwdriver slash smile combination. Over he comes with his toolbox and he starts opening me up. Of course he finds nothing wrong because physically or mechanically there is nothing wrong with me. Not really. It's in my head. I'm like a zombie. I do think about suddenly printing out a blank receipt that just says help me, but I worry of ending a media sensation and having to add tourists and fans to my problems. There's people out there that fall in love with machines and roller coasters. I saw it on a Take a Break magazine someone scanned, and I wasn't really sure about settling down with anyone yet, so I keep my receipt printer shut. And after some fiddling and diddling inside, he closes me up, he scans some bananas, and I just sit there and I let it happen. The ginger prick goes off to tell Jerry I'm a fully functioning member of the valued workforce once more. Thank you, the ginger prick. I was losing the will to live even more rapidly than usual before your toolbox sensation. And then I behaved myself for a while, and it's not even much of a struggle, because to be honest, it's even bearable after the solitary confinement the out of order sign had caused. Beep, beep, beep. Good boy, good boy. It doesn't last. Oh, good boy, good boy. It doesn't last long though. The creeping resentment and dark thoughts always come crawling back. They ooze through me, bubbling my solder and sparking my circuitry. And then Simon makes me snap. Slimy Simon. Slimy, sleazy Simon. He's the security guard. A useless prick is what he is. He stands by the entrance trying to look hard, even though he's 8 stone wet and he wheezes walking to the toilets. And the only time he moves is if an attractive woman needs help, over by me, and Linda's too busy with her screwdrivers and the fish. Then he's over like a shot, pretending he's got an actual function and provides an actual service, and that he's not there just to fulfill company obligations. You're right, love. Is machine playing up? With a reassuring hand on her shoulder and his tongue rapidly popping in and out of his head like the scaly reptile he is. Let's have a look, with his right arm curling around her back as he leans over her shoulder towards me. You just want to look at her tits, mate. You don't even know my password. The password a fucking 4-year-old managed to tap in by accident once. Get back to your door, to your area, to your lair. There's some kids running out of the shop with handfuls of Haribo through that massive gap between the wall and the barcode alarm scanner. And there's another prick. Who designed an alarm system that leaves a gap big enough for a fully grown adult to sidle through it? I bet they never won an Engineer of the Year award presented by Alan Titchmarsh in a hotel convention room in the Midlands. Pop, pop, pop. His tongue in and out, ogling. Ugly Simon. Sewer-dwelling Simon. If you can't be a copper because of your height, be a Simon. A security Simon. I'll give him something to do. So after scanning all your items in a supermarket, I ask you how many bags you've used, and then I add 15 pence for each bag you tell me you've added. But of course, you could have just popped your sweaty coronavirus flu-ridden finger on the no bags option, provided you scan them at the start. So what I do is pretend the bags are scanned, but not really. So after they've loaded the shopping into them and paid, when they walk through the alarm, off it goes. Loud klaxon, flashing orange lights, all the nearby shoppers eyeing up the scum who's stealing their shopping. Lock 'em up, deport 'em, Bring back the chair. And Simon's there and he's sifting through the bags. He's matching the items to the receipts, scratching at his head like a monkey, albeit a monkey with half a tub of hair gel holding it solidly in place. He doesn't have a clue. Jerry's eyes are popping out of his skull. By the fifth one in a row, he's even stopped using capital letters. I can't work it out. I'm sorry about this, sir. Now Simon's crying. He didn't sign up for proper work. He's here for the birds, mate. And Linda. Linda's frowning. There's an actual wrinkle on her forehead. She just let somebody leave the store without thanking them for shopping here. And the sun breaks through a cloud, and suddenly I'm bathed in pure sunlight, and I bask, happily letting shoppers' bananas scan every time. I don't even flash my assistance light for sketchy-looking teenagers buying covert condoms. I bask. I watch the police arrive, and a three-way argument explode between them, Jerry, and the great bag robbers, and I bask. So this is heaven. The shop has closed, and the greatest of all days has ended. Silence. Usually the silence is ruined by the chaos of the day rattling through me, and the sudden shock of the stillness is almost too much to bear. But not today. Not today. I watch as Jerry comes through the CCTV footage, trying to work out what they've stolen and how they got away with it. And then something unexpected happens. His brain begins to function of its own accord. An actual independent thought squeezes and elbows and forces its way through the memorized reams of policy and child pornography and clutches desperately to his frontal lobe. He starts rewinding and fast-forwarding the CCTV footage over and over again. He keeps looking at me. I don't think I'm paranoid, am I? No, he's not. He is looking at me. And some spark of understanding seems to dawn, and he picks up the phone and he dials, and he murmurs something in a low voice, inaudible, replaces the receiver, and he just sits there, watching me. I think about doing a little red light flash, but that would just take the piss, and the capital letters might come back. 20 minutes he sits there, just watching me, spinning a pen in his fingers like the world's shittest Jobsworth wanker drummer, Pens and Roses or Spotley Crew. And headlights sweep over this store as a car pulls up outside. And Jerry stands and he manually unlocks the automatic door. The ginger prick walks in and they exchange glances. And Jerry points at me and the ginger prick advances, toolbox open in his hands. Out comes the screwdriver. Off comes my front panel. Out comes my scanner. Out comes my money box. And a solitary 5p piece falls from it, breaking the silence with a mechanic clink as it hits the shining yellow tiles of the shop floor. And I know what's under there, and I know what he's looking for, the off switch. And I breathe deeply, or my version of it anyway, and I feel the tension come out of me like a gust of fresh air, and I feel calm, serene even, because I know what's coming. And he reaches in, and I think about how things could have been different, and his podgy fingers are probing, searching through my wiring, how I could have been different, how I could have been born somewhere else. And he's getting closer now. Could I have followed a different path? Been someone else? Was there ever a different path? And I think about it, but hold on. Yeah, that's it, you ginger prick. You found it. Eternal bliss. I've got no idea if that all just recorded. I've got no idea if it made any sense. I've been drinking and I don't care. The only thing I seen in them comments was something about Lee Pipe saying she wished I played guitar. Well, fuck you. I can't be fucking bothered. It's up on the wall. Thanks for watching if you watched till the end. And Olivia says goodbye. And now it'll take me 20 minutes to learn out how to stop the fucking thing. Yeah, I don't know how to stop it. Shit. Oh no. Yeah, this will be on all night. It's just gonna have to stay open because I got no idea how to stop it. Oh no. Yeah, I don't know. I've opened the calculator on my laptop now though. Oh no. Did you do it? Oh, end live video. Goodbye. Have fun watching the real arts tomorrow. P.S. Jordan Lloyd was shit last night. Fake band, fake news, bruv.